What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping, I usually say the week's nerd news, but tonight, on a very special episode, we're recapping yesterday's nerdy news. From Metropolis to Atlantis to Gotham to Themyscira to Central City to Fawcett City to everywhere in between. We're talking about DC Fandome tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
See, now, here, Mike, I thought that yesterday's nerdy news was going to be an announcement about your Kickstarter.
Yeah, well, we could talk about that too. Thanks for bringing that up. I have a Kickstarter that's currently underway. We mentioned the Kickstarter on last week's episode, a Kickstarter for a book called The Amazing Shakes, based on a band that I'm in. It is in its third day. We launched it on Friday, and we've raised $3,500 already, which is incredible to me that it's going that well, so strong out of the gate. That's over halfway to our goal already. So thank you, everyone out there who has pledged anything. We really appreciate it. You're going to hear me talk about it now, and on the second episode that you're going to get this week, tomorrow, we're going to be doing another everything except DC Fandome episode tomorrow. So 2 episodes this week. Surprise. And then the following week, we're actually going to have our first guest on the Multiverse Report, and it's going to be the artist that I've been working with, that I partnered with, named Riley McFarlane, is going to be on the show, and Steve's going to ask us all the questions about our Amazing Shakes comic book and the Kickstarter and all that stuff. And I'm sure we'll also cover your week's worth of nerdy news from wherever to wherever and everywhere in between. By the way, I'm one of your co-hosts, Mike Gibson. With me, as always, is Steve Haller. How you doing, Steve?
Not too bad, Mike. Just figured I'd throw that out there, seeing, there were big happenings this week from both DC and from you personally. So I wanted to make sure we got the hit in if people were listening to this and not tomorrow.
Honestly, I was kind of offended that they didn't cover my Kickstarter at DC Fandome. Like, come on, why? Obvious reasons why. But yes, that was a kind of a tangent right off the top. But yes, today we are covering all things DC Fandome. This is going to be a packed episode, as we knew that it would be. As soon as they announced the date for DC Fandome months ago, we knew that whenever that episode, our recap episode came, it's going to be packed, and it's so packed that we are splitting it into 2 episodes, as previously mentioned. This one's going to be all about the stuff that we found out about yesterday from DC and Warner Brothers and HBO Max. And then tomorrow, Steve and I are going to be recording another episode that has to deal with all the non-DC stuff that we heard in the previous week.
And there was a ton of that, too. Because
there was actually a lot of that, too. Yeah, because can't have just a short week. So I guess we're going to dive right in, unless there's anything else we need to go over at the top.
No, I'd say we might as well, head directly to Gotham and see what happens.
All right, yeah, let's go. I guess I should say that if you're not familiar with DC Fandome, this is the second year in a row that DC Warner Brothers has done their very own virtual fan convention. It's basically like San Diego Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con or whatever, but it's all, you can watch it from your couch. And last year they did it in a way where you had to log into dcfandome.com and you could stream everything from there. And it was like a thing where it started at noon or something, and it was like 8 or 10 hours of panels programming. And then once it ran out, it started again. So if you missed the 2 o'clock showing of whatever Doom Patrol panel, you could see it again at like 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever. If you stayed up. And then on Sunday, it was gone. Like, once it had gone a complete 24 hours, it disappeared. Except, obviously, like, trailers and stuff were uploaded, but all the panels and stuff were gone. So this year, it was condensed. It was condensed into a short 4 hours. And, man, did they pack a lot into that 4 hours. It was, on our East Coast time, it was from, like, 1 to 5. Yep. And, man, they gave us so much stuff. And we're not even really talking about, certainly not diving into everything. I mean, there's some things we're not even going to mention that they did. And we're going to start off with the big one. We're going to start off with the thing that they made us wait 4 hours to see. I knew that they were going to do that, and they did it. Those jerks. The new trailer for the highly anticipated The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Colin Farrell, Paul Dano.
Colin Farrell wasn't in that.
Colin Farrell? Oh,
he
yeah.
Definitely wasn't in that.
It is insane. If you watch the Batman trailer, and you didn't know Colin Farrell was in the Batman, newsflash, you saw Colin Farrell in that Batman trailer playing the Penguin, looking unrecognizable as Colin Farrell. The makeup is incredible.
Yeah.
He looks like a completely different person. And to the point where it makes me kind of wonder, like, why didn't you just cast a different person if you wanted
right. If you're looking for someone that's completely different, then like
look for a different
completely
person.
different.
Yeah, let's cast one of the most good-looking men in the world and make him look just like a dumpy,
right?
Guy in his 50s or whatever. Anyway,
yeah, Oswald Copperpot should not be the most stunning man around.
Not usually the most. Yeah, not usually the most debonair looking guy, but in this case, being played by Colin Farrell anyway. Steve, what'd you think of this trailer? I'm going to give it to you first.
Okay, because I know you're going to have a lot to say about it after.
Yeah. I also saw the panel. I don't know if you saw the actual panel, but I also watched the panel that was hosted by the director, Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson, and Zoe Kravitz. So I got some insight from that too as well. But go ahead.
So I didn't see the panel. As someone whose, I guess, primary Batman anything came from the '89 series, it looked damn good. it was in that darker vein. It looks like it's going to be a more I know we've talked, anyone who's listened to us has talked or has heard us talk about, the boots on the ground versus the supernatural versus any of that. It's a very boots on the ground type look to it. It's a very World's Greatest Detective type feel to it versus the some of the other takes that we've seen in recent years. So I everything that we thought was going to happen with this trailer seemed to have happened, and to me that's a very good thing. Like that last cut from the trailer, spoiler alert if you didn't see that the trailer, the last cut is the aforementioned Colin Farrell upside down in a car with Batman walking at him out of a giant burning morass that the Batmobile just drove through. And it just has this feel to it of one of my buddies literally said that this may be better than anything that Marvel has put out post Endgame, just from the trailer. And I'm like, it has that feel that there's a chance to it. Like DC's kind of screwed us on trailers before, and put out phenomenal trailers for good but not great product. But this looks like it's a good and possibly great product.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's. I'm trying to do some quick math in my head. I think Batman movies in general are a pretty safe bet. I'm pretty sure there's been more.
I would say
There's been more great Batman movies than there have been not great Batman movies. I think there's definitely been some not great Batman movies, or movies with Batman in them, I should say. But movies with the word Batman in the title, generally more or less, I feel like they're usually better than they are terrible.
Right, movies with Batman in the title that don't include George Clooney in the starring role, you're pretty safe.
Forever's not that great in my opinion. Dark Knight Rises I don't love. There's some good moments in it, but
right. Dark Knight Rises I can watch. Like it's not a all right, I'm turning the channel. It's like, okay, it's good. It's fine. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, I agree with you. I love this trailer. I'm a huge Batman fan, obviously, so my hopes are high, but also my standards are high, if you know what I mean. I'm not so much a person that's going to be like, they need to give me exactly what I want, or I'm going to be mad. I'm open to, receiving a new version and some new twists and turns, and it definitely looks like they're giving me a mix of kind of both things that I love and things that I wouldn't expect. One thing that I loved about this trailer is the amount of Selena Kyle, Catwoman, that is in this trailer. It made her look like a super main character, not just a side character, and certainly not just a straight up villain. Gave her some cool she had some cool shots in there, like leaping off of a building at one point, saying goodbye to Batman, and like just kind of leaping over the edge of something was incredible. It's like straight comic book. A lot of the cinematography in this trailer alone, I thought was very comic booky.
Yeah,
and I loved it. The way people were staged or lit, or there's a real quick shot of a silhouetted Batman and Catwoman talking to each other that looked like something right out of like Tom King's run.
Yeah.
What I was surprised about this trailer was the lack of Riddler in this trailer. Paul Dano is playing Edward Nygma. I think they're calling him Edward Nygma, or they're calling him Edward Nashton. I can't remember. There's been both in the comic books. And he's in the very beginning.
Knowing the way they've been going in all of movies since time, it's probably going to be Edward Nygma just from name recognition and like.
I have a vague recollection of when they announced his character. They announced him as Nashton.
Huh.
And I don't remember if that's true or not. Somebody can fact check me on that or yell at me in the chat or whatever. And I don't know if they did. I don't know if they were doing that as a way to step it back from the, like, oh, his name is Enigma and he's into puzzles.
Take the camp down a little.
Yeah, down a notch.
Yep.
But I also could be wrong about that. But he was barely in the teaser that they showed last year at DC Fandome. He's in it, but he's masked and he's doing some creepy duct tape work. And you see his mask real quick in this one. He was unmasked from the beginning. And I don't know, I feel like for a big superhero movie like this, the big first trailer usually gives you a lot of villain, I think. Like, here's the hero and here's the problem he's going to be fighting when you come to this movie. We didn't get much Riddler. And from what I understand, Riddler is the main villain of this movie. Colin Farrell has said that he's only in a few scenes of this movie.
But if you watch that trailer, it's the exact opposite. Like,
exactly.
Farrell's face, Farrell's new face is everywhere in it, and you see just about nothing of the Riddler. Like, you get the big tease right off the bat with the coffee cup, but after that, it's just like, okay, cool, it's a thing.
It's a thing. He's there somewhere.
Maybe it's a riddle as to where he is.
But I also kind of like that. Seemingly, they gave us a lot in this trailer, but they also didn't give much away. They gave us a lot of action. They gave us a lot of fighting. They didn't give us a lot of plot. And the rumor and what Matt Reeves has said, and he hasn't said too much about this. He's been working on this movie, by the way, since like 2016, 2017 when he came on board. He originally came on board when Ben Affleck was still attached to do a solo Batman movie of his Batman. And then Ben Affleck ended up leaving, and Matt Reeves said, okay, I'm just going to do, or I don't remember which happened first. It was either Matt Reeves saying it's going to be its own thing, or Ben Affleck leave. Probably they happened around the same time, actually. But and then once Matt Reeves took over, there was like crickets, and we just heard nothing about it for years and forever. And so there's so much hype, and as frustrated as I was, like not getting anything along the way, I always told myself, I was like, okay, Matt Reeves is a talented writer and director. If he's taking his time on this, then it's going to be good. He's taking his time because he wants to make it great, and I want him to make it great. So, anyway, they're still not giving us as much as we would like, I think, because like they're giving us a lot of like spectacle and like cool cinematography and action, but they're not giving us a whole lot of story. And hopefully, at some point, it's coming out in March, so we're going to probably get another trailer in the next month or 2 months, maybe. We'll probably get another one pretty soon. Maybe a story trailer, maybe more Riddler.
But that's the thing, though. Like, think about any of the good MCU trailers. Think about any of the good movie trailers you've seen in the past, where like the trailer got you hyped but didn't give anything away. Like most of the good MCU movies, you see maybe stuff out of the first 20 minutes of the movie, and that's all you see. Whereas, like, look back at some of the bad X-Men movies over the course, where it was like, you're giving away half the plot in the trailer.
Or the trailers for, famously, Batman versus Superman gave away everything that happened in that entire movie.
It's like, if you know the movie's good, you can get away with being cagey and, like, giving away just about nothing. Whereas, if you have to sell it, you end up with Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Agreed.
the way this was filmed and the way it's presented, it seems like this is very much the latter more than or the former more than the latter, where
Yeah.
we see a lot of Batman, but we don't see
Right.
anything of Batman. Like, it's just Pattinson being pissed off about things, and there's
Yeah.
no, like, they don't give anything away, but they also give you enough so that you can feel like what version of Batman this is, but they don't give it away, which,
Yes.
if that makes any sense.
I think it does. And
I know.
speaking
Well,
of that,
let me rephrase that. To you, I know it
okay.
makes sense, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
to anyone
Well,
else,
speaking of what kind of Batman we're gonna get, it was a kind of only a couple minute conversation between the director Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson, and Zoe Kravitz, who's playing Selena Kyle, Catwoman. They talked about like the how much fun they had making the movie and all this, and blah blah blah, classic kind of like panel stuff like that. But Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson touched on something that I thought was really cool. Well, first, Matt Reeves said something about his approach. He said he wanted to ground it and take it back to like year one, which he said, I don't think anyone's ever done that before. And I was like, have you seen Batman Begins? Because that's pretty grounded. And it's definitely a year one story for Batman.
I mean,
anyway.
It's literally begins.
Yeah, exactly. But he clarified that it's not an origin story, and I think he said that before. It's not. We will not see the origin because we've seen it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But it is a year one story. He's very new at this. He's just kind of getting off the ground. He doesn't have all the gadgets or all the secrets or all the partners or allies, and he's very new to him still, which I think is great. But he's already Batman. We don't have to see his parents getting killed or whatever. And in that, Robert Pattinson kind of went off of that and saying that he liked playing a version of the character that where the line between, he said something like where the line between Bruce Wayne and Batman is very thin, and he's not always sure. Sometimes he's Batman when he shouldn't be, or something like that, or he's not really sure when he's going to be Batman and when he's Bruce Wayne. Like the line is like blurry for him. So that tells me that this is a version of Bruce Wayne that is like kind of unstable, which I think is really cool, because you kind of have to be pretty unstable to dress like a bat and go out and swing around rooftops all the time and think that's gonna be a good thing for you to do. And he also said, like, when he puts the cowl on, he doesn't necessarily know what he's gonna do, or he's not really like focused. And that it's true that all the other versions of Batman we've seen, they're like, I know exactly what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it, and I'm putting this cowl on, and I'm going to go do this. And it seems like that's not the case. And I think seeing a Batman that's a little more unhinged is going to be very exciting.
No, and that like what you're talking about, kind of, being the Marvel guy that I am, and the MCU being, recent in memory. It's reminiscent of what they did with when they brought Spidey into the MCU. You don't need the origin story, and you can tell he's really new at this and he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And yes, there's a big difference between adult Bruce Wayne, who's slightly unhinged and doing his vigilante thing, versus teenage kid who's swinging around New York. But it's that same kind of like, we don't need to rehash. Everyone knows the Uncle Ben story. Everyone knows his parents, Bruce Wayne's parents, that whole situation. We don't need to rehash that for the 18,000th time. We can just dive right into, hey, this is weird. Let's figure it out. And you're figuring out the puzzle of Bruce Wayne now, instead of learning where the puzzle came from. Which that's going to be a great step.
That's great. And yeah, it has been rumored for a long time to be a straight up detective story. There's a rumor this past week that it's going to be close to 3 hours long. Ooh. I love Batman. That seems like a little much. I feel like you should probably cut that back. I mean, maybe it's a masterpiece, and in that case, great. But like 3 hours for like a first installment of a new creative team, that's a lot to ask from audiences. So we'll see. Speaking about movies that have been in development for a long time, we also got a first look at, we talked about that for way too long, by the way, the amount of stuff we have to cover tonight. But anyway, we got a first look at Black Adam, finally. I just looked it up. while we were talking about Batman a second ago, because I knew this was coming. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson first announced that he would be playing Black Adam in 2014. That's how long he's been attached to this role. 2014, he's been attached to play Black Adam.
That's amazing. And
yeah.
If anyone hasn't seen this clip from Fandome, he's still excited about it. Like, he legitimately is 100% behind this movie, and you can tell that this is like something he wants to do. And
otherwise he wouldn't still be attached to it. He's The Rock. He could be doing any movie that he wants. He's one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. He doesn't have to be attached to this movie, but clearly it's because he wants to be. He's passionate about the character, clearly, and that is one thing that makes me really excited about it.
Yep. So I guess, I mean, it's gonna be weird. Like, so we've talked on the MCU side about the Venom and the anti-hero stuff and all that.
Yeah.
Like, how that all fits in. Black Adam historically was a villain, right?
Correct. Yes. So, and now he's definitely similar to Venom. He's made the transition to more of like an anti-hero, or kind of like out for his own, he like kind of has his own city that he rules over. So he like protects that city kind of, he's actually been like a pseudo member. He's been working with the Justice League a lot in the current run of Justice League, the Brian Michael Bendis current Justice League run. Yeah. Which is weird. And members of Justice League like, we're not going to ask Black Adam to come work with us, are we really? And Superman's like, give him a chance. He's trying to do good or whatever, you know. So like that whole thing. So there's like clearly precedent there for him to be doing good. And I think they're going to kind of straddle the line a little bit.
Right. Well, yeah, the trailer itself, like, you see some, whether it's mercenaries or whoever coming into said city that you talked about, that he's, in charge of or protecting or whatever. And then him, seemingly, him making very short work of them. Yeah. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what take they go with on this, and how they can make it into a whole movie. Because again, much like what we saw for Batman, you didn't really get a hell of a lot out of it.
We didn't, and I was honestly, we got a little bit of behind the scenes look. We got some talk from the other cast members. Here's what I was bummed about with this. Yep. Like, last year at Fandome, they announced that Hawkman and Dr. Fate and Cyclone and Atom Smasher were all going to be in this movie, and we got like some talking head shots of those actors talking about them, and we got up close shots of their like uniforms and stuff. But I was like, you can't give us a picture of them. Like, I want to see Pierce Brosnan is playing Dr. Fate. Like, I want to see Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. I want to see fucking Hawkman. Oh, sorry, not PG-13 anymore. I want to see Hawkman in costume, a live action Hawkman for the first time. Like, let me see that. And we didn't get that. And we barely got a look at Black Adam. Like, in that clip, they got some behind the scenes thing where we saw him from the back, and then in the clip, he's like rising up, and he's got a cloak on him, and you can see the lightning bolt.
Yeah, you can see the suit a little, the texture and whatnot.
But I kind of wanted him to throw that cloak off and be like, yo, I'm The Rock, and here I am as Black Adam.
Yep.
But we didn't get that. It was still cool. It's still awesome, and I'm very excited. I gotta wonder, because Black Adam is traditionally the arch nemesis of Shazam.
Yep.
I gotta wonder if there's going to be any at all Shazam references, besides the woman that unearthed Black Adam says Shazam in order to do it. So really? Right there, I don't know if you caught that.
No, I didn't.
They're like, she's reading the thing on the ground or whatever, and she says Shazam, and the lightning comes down and hits the spot on the ground, and then he comes out of it. So like clearly they're not trying to make it not connected to Shazam. They're like admitting that
there's definitely something there.
Yeah.
Also, random fact or random question. Does DC realize that you don't have to have a lightning bolt on every possible character that you own?
Hey now. Come on now.
I mean, come on, Steve. Most of their characters seem to just have, like, that's their symbol is a lightning bolt.
You're talking about two.
Okay, let's look at our rundown. You have Shazam. You have Black
Yep.
Adam. You have the Flash.
Okay, okay. You can say Black Adam tied in with Shazam. It's okay.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
We'll
I
give it
get
to
I
you.
get there are two rather large quote unquote families within the DC universe, and which both use lightning bolts as their yeah. The Flash family and all speedsters really have lightning
Right.
bolts. You're right. And Shazam, the Shazamily, and Black Adam, because Black Adam's spin-off of Shazam or has the same
Right.
powers
He's
as
like the
like
weird
bad guy.
cousin over in the corner.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Basically, like he was offered the powers of the gods, and he took them and decided to run amok with them instead of like do good for the world. Basically, so he has the same powers as Shazam, more or less.
Oh,
I think there's
okay.
like there's like different gods that give Black Adam his powers, that give Shazam his powers, but
Yep.
you know, whatever.
I
It's
mean,
all
I'm
pretty much the same.
I'm coming from a era where or a fandom where everything has an X on it, so whatever.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, take that. And spiders. Yeah, you got plenty of spiders.
There's a lot of spiders. I'll give you that.
Yeah. So, yeah, you got to be wondering how quickly they're going to put Shazam and Black Adam in a movie. You would think they'd want to do it pretty quick, if not. I mean, okay, so we're getting a Black Adam movie. We're about to talk about a Shazam, the sequel to Shazam.
Yep.
Is Black Adam 2 where you meet Shazam, or Shazam 3, or is it like just a straight up crossover movie?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it might just be like
There,
the next step after Shazam Fury of the Gods is like the two of them going at it in some whether they title it Shazam or Black Adam or something completely different. That might be the next iteration.
like, is there a post-credit scene in Black Adams or post-credit scene in Shazam Fury of the Gods that links them? Who knows? But it seems like they're, you know, they're on a collision course.
Right.
I would assume, unless you're going to make a huge misstep. But speaking of Shazam Fury of the Gods, we also got
DC's never done that before, Mike.
Yeah, I know. And that's, I gotta say, like, doing this kind of stuff, like this fandom, really, I think, is one of the best things that DC could do.
Oh yeah.
For their fans, and not only like both years have been like crazy popular, like just hundreds of thousands, millions of people are watching these conventions that they've done these 2 years. But also, yeah, when they were first rushing to kind of catch up with Marvel, they were like announcing all these things that never got made and probably still won't get made, like a Cyborg movie. That's not going to happen.
No, he's in everything else, but
yeah. And, you know, clearly Zack Snyder's Justice League ended up happening, but certainly not in the way that he thought it was going to happen or that he wanted it to happen. But,
true.
You know, there's definitely stuff, you know, there hasn't been a Man of Steel 2. There was never a solo Ben Affleck movie. You know, plenty of stuff that got announced. But I think doing stuff like this, confirming directors, confirming actors, having them talk about movies, like we're going to talk a little later about 2 panels for movies that aren't really, they're just in very early stages, but they still have the cast, like the actors, writers, directors on to talk about it. Like, it gives fans like, oh, okay, these things are really happening. I can believe them now that these are really happening. So
well, and it not only gives the fans that, but it also gives, as dumb as it sounds, it gives the studio feedback. Which
for sure.
I feel like DC's biggest problem for a long time was they were just doing everything in a bubble.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna make this, and then why does nobody like it? But didn't ever take anything back of why nobody liked it. It was just like nobody liked it.
Yeah, they weren't really investing in the characters the way they seem to be now. Like, I feel like, you know, they made that. I mean, I don't want to go down a Justice League rabbit hole, but it seemed like all the marketing for the original theatrical cut of Justice League was just like, look at this billboard that has Batman and Flash and Wonder Woman on it. You like those characters. You should like this movie. But like nothing else, like no other, like, well, okay, I might like those characters, but I don't know anything about Ezra Miller as Flash. Why don't you tell me something about him? Make me care about that version of Flash.
Yep.
Because I got 1,000 on my bookshelf at home that I could just go read those, you know, like whatever. Anyway, Shazam, Fury of the Gods. We got not a trailer. They're done shooting, but we did get some behind the scenes, like a featurette, some words from David Sandberg, the director, and Zachary Levi. We got a first look at Helen Mirren as Hespera and Lucy Liu as Calypso. Daughters of Atlas. I had forgotten that they announced Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu as the villains of Shazam: Fear of the Gods. I think that's pretty awesome. And we also got a teaser of a lot of like cool monsters and stuff that we're gonna get. I know you, Steve, you still haven't seen the first Shazam movie, but for me, the first Shazam movie is like, it's like a movie that if you saw it when you were 10, it would be your favorite movie of your entire life, because it's about a kid who says a magic word and gets superpowers but still acts like a kid and fights monsters. It's like, it's funny, it's cool, it's exciting, and it's also scary at the same time. It's like Goonies or something, where it's like an adventure and there's like legit kind of scary things that happen to the characters. There's monsters that are attacking them, like creepy, scary looking monsters in it. So it like kind of melds a bunch of different stuff, and it definitely, from the animatics we saw at Fandome, seems like they're going to give us more of that, which I'm very very excited about.
And I mean, Helen Mirren is Helen Mirren. Like,
yeah, Helen Mirren doing anything is awesome.
Yeah. You got Helen Mirren at 75 to be a antagonist in a DC movie. Like, okay, cool. That's gonna be awesome.
For sure. We also got another behind the scenes kind of like on set montage for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, the sequel to Aquaman. It's got some on-camera interviews from Jason Momoa, James Wan, other members of the cast as well. Not Amber Heard. Amber Heard seemed to be, she was in like maybe 1 or 2 quick shots. I think the scandal surrounding her and her ex-husband maybe affecting the amount of publicity we're going to end up seeing her do for Aquaman 2. But we also got some really cool animatics and kind of concept art for the movie. James Wan talking about how it's a global adventure, and they showed us like shots of them like being chased by monsters in the desert, but also like in like frozen snowy tundra. Looked like some more Hollow Earth stuff like we saw in the original Aquaman. Clearly a lot of underwater stuff, but like just really cool, whether it be like new sea monsters or stuff with Black Manta. There was like some fighting with Yahya Abdul-Mateen. Just really cool stuff. Patrick Wilson as Orm. It seems like they Jason or Aquaman maybe have to be teaming up with Ocean Man, like freeing him from wherever he is, and then like maybe teaming up with him. I feel like that's a classic, like he was like a Loki thing, like he was the villain of the first movie, but now we have to work together for some reason. Like that's kind of a classic trope in superhero stuff.
Yeah, and when you have Black Manta already set up as, you know, the antagonist from the first movie and still continuing through, it leaves that space for Ocean Master to kind of be the anti-hero and come through in the Loki role. And, you know, just from, you know, being in the comic book realm, they probably see what happened with Loki and where everyone's like, oh, he's great. Yeah. Like, oh, let's do that too.
Exactly. Yeah. So, we need a Loki. Who can be our Loki?
Who's our Loki?
Dude, if Ocean Master becomes DC's Loki, I'll be very shocked. I will love it. I will love it, but I'll be shocked. Patrick Wilson is a great actor. I'll watch Patrick Wilson do anything, so fine. Give me more of him for sure. One of the other things I was very excited about to see was a sneak peek at The Flash. And Steve, I would love to see like a breakdown or like an industry standard of what qualifies as a sneak peek versus a teaser versus a trailer. Because I feel like sometimes people are like, ooh, we have a teaser for our new movie. It's 2.5 minutes long. To me, that's a trailer.
Right.
Or there's like, oh, here's a sneak peek, but it's a minute long. Like that should be a teaser. I don't know. Right. Like what's a sneak peek? Is it just like, I don't know, a montage like with no audio? I don't know.
The first teaser we got of like, it was either Shang-Chi or the Eternals or one of those was like 30 seconds. It's like, okay, that's a sneak peek. I got you there. Peek.
Yes, less than a minute, sneak peek.
There you go.
Less than 2 minutes, teaser. More than 2 minutes, trailer. That's my personal thing.
All right, I think we're going to set that as the Multiverse Report standard.
Yes.
So that's where we're going to go from here on out.
Yes,
however, this is listed as a Flash sneak peek.
Yes, Ezra Miller introduced a Flash sneak peek. He's wearing some weird collar. Ezra Miller is a weirdo. So we all know that. Seems to be. Certainly
rocking a dog collar. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, good for him.
Yeah.
Also, there was like a weird video. I don't know if you ever saw this, Steve. I think it was probably a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago. There was a video that went online of him like seemingly looked like he was choke slamming someone that came up to him to ask for like an autograph or something, like a fan. Like it was
That's kind of weird.
awkward, and no one from Warner Brothers ever said anything about it. It was never commented on whether or not it was real, whether or not it was a joke, and it was like, what is happening? Should he be fired? Should we cancel him? I don't know what's going on. Yeah, so he's like a weirdo in more ways than one, I think. But he introduced this. He specifically said this is not a trailer, it's not a teaser, it's a sneak peek, and then it was like it was over a minute worth of footage. But boy, I loved most of what we saw in this.
There was a lot packed into that minute.
Yeah, it was pretty substantial stuff for him saying, we don't have a whole lot of footage. It's like, okay, well, we get new shots of the costume. We got shots of Wayne Manor, who you said right before we went live, you said looked pretty much exactly like the X Mansion from X-Men First Class.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I didn't know they shot it in the same spot they shot X-Men First Class, because it looked almost exactly the same as when Wolverine and who else goes in to meet Beast and
it's just Wolverine, right? They go into
Wolverine,
Professor X and
Hank,
because
he goes back in time. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, he meets Hank and X, going right around that same.
That's right. But then, as I said to you, how do we know that where they shot X-Men First Class isn't, or X Days of Future Past isn't the same mansion where they shot Batman '89?
Yeah,
maybe it was. Who knows? But anyway, going to Wayne Manor, we get a voiceover from Michael Keaton himself. We didn't get to see him, which is a bummer. We see a silhouette at the end. We see a silhouette of him in the cowl, or somebody in the cowl, which was enough to make me sweat nerd droplets of nerd sweat. That's a thing, right? We see two flashes. We see a shot where there's two Ezra Millers, so clearly he has met the Barry Allen of this timeline, or whatever timeline he's in, or taken him from a different timeline. We also see the two of them standing next to Sasha Calle's Supergirl. They seem to be in the Batcave.
Yeah, there's definitely a shot in the Batcave.
Yeah, a couple shots, I believe. I think most of this trailer takes place in Wayne Manor and or the Batcave.
Yep.
There's a shot of a bat suit kind of like thrown on the ground with some like possibly blood dripping. When I first saw it, I thought it looked like Ben Affleck's bat suit or bat cowl, but then I was like, could it be also Michael Keaton? So I'm not sure which one, because Ben Affleck's also going to be in this movie.
Right. And would that be a throwback to the... Wasn't there some like promotional art of like the Watchmen looking blood droplets on one of the
on the Keaton suit. Yes, the Keaton. Yeah, you're right.
So might be a throwback there, something like that.
I think that's true, or that could be. It could explain why that's there. I thought initially it was Ben Affleck, because when they showed that, the Michael Keaton voiceover saying something like "You changed the past" or something like that was the line that he said while that was happening. And I mean, who knows how much of the past he's going to change? Like, is he going to erase the Snyderverse in its entirety, besides Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa?
Right.
Who knows? And himself. Anyway, we got a shot of Supergirl. We got a tease of the Batmobile at the very end of the trailer. We got a tease of, like I said, Michael Keaton returning as Batman. And we got Flashpoint vibes. There's clearly a shot of what seemed like Barry Allen going home to meet his still alive mother. Flash, obviously, I mean, not obviously if you don't know, but the origin of the Flash is that his father is in jail for killing his mom, which he didn't do. His mom dies, and then in Flashpoint, which is a comic that came out, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago now, Flash decides to run so fast that he can go back in time to save his mother from being killed. And then when he comes back to the present day, everything has changed and heroes aren't who they used to be. And he's got to try to reset the timeline by letting his mom get killed, which is heartbreaking. So seems like he's at least trying to save his mom, or going to meet his mom, even if maybe he's in a different universe. Maybe he's in a multiverse, so he's meeting a mom from a multiverse and just wants to reconnect with his mom. Who knows? Again, as we've said before, Steve, this movie could literally be anything.
Right.
We really don't know. There could be 1,000 different timelines in this movie. We wouldn't know. But
multiverse of madness, all worlds colliding.
All worlds colliding. So who knows? I was really excited by this. Steve, did you have any like thoughts specifically, or anything that really stood out to you as being cool, or what?
No, it seemed I think anyone who's listened, like, the Flash movie has been one of those where I'm like, okay, I I want to see this. It intrigues me, but there's no like real, hook outside of
Yeah,
the fact that, the Ezra Miller in the Justice League movies was intriguing. Um,
yeah,
this kind of sealed it. Like, there was a lot going on. There was a lot that brought back some nostalgia. There was a lot that also left some questions that I wanted to see answered. So I think it did the job as someone who's not, tied into the source material on this end. It really did do what a sneak peek or teaser is supposed to do, and be like, I think I need to watch more of this. So they did
yeah,
their job.
yeah. I agree. Um, I thought it was interesting that the voiceover from Keaton is saying like, you can go anywhere, you can go any timeline,
Yep.
you can go to anywhere you want. Why are you so focused on fighting for this one? But if Ezra Miller has run to Michael Keaton's Tim Burton universe timeline, why is he focused on saving that timeline?
Right.
Or at that point, have they merged already? Like, what are you talking about, Michael Keaton? I was just like, well, is he that focused on saving yours, or is he trying to save his? I guess we don't know what he's really referencing, but
Right.
who knows? It also seemed like because of the bat suit on the floor, and in that scene where Flash is standing with another Flash and Supergirl behind him saying, "Are you in?"
Yep.
Seems like maybe Bruce Wayne hasn't been Batman this whole time, but is going to become Batman again to help them do whatever they're going to do. Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah,
Is like
could be
him
bringing him
bringing
back into the
back.
fold.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see whenever that movie comes out. I don't think it's next year even. It might be 2023, or maybe it's late 22. I don't
Right.
know. Um, So anyway, moving on, a couple movies that we got, not any teasers because they're so early on, but we got panels for both Blue Beetle and Batgirl. It was kind of like a roundtable discussion with the directors, the writers, and the titular star of each. Um, Yolo Maraduena described the Blue Beetle movie. He's like the main character, playing Jaime Reyes, the Blue Beetle. He described it as being fun, funny, and crazy. And all three of them, the director, the writer, and Yolo, talked about how the movie and the script really reflects the life of Latin American people, which is great. And they also said it's going to have, quote unquote, the best super suit of any superhero movie, which is quite a claim. And they
It is.
acknowledge it. They said we said we know it's quite a claim, and we haven't even made it yet, but we know that's how adamant we are about how great this is going to be.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's great. And then for the Batgirl panel, Leslie Grace, star of Batgirl, kind of described Barbara Gordon as being sweet, but also kind of having some grit to her, and also a need to like prove herself. That she's early on in Batgirl. This is her trying to figure it all out, exploring this like duality of her personality and living two lives. Directors confirmed that her suit will have a cowl. It's not going to be the version of her where she just has an eye mask and like little ears
Right.
sticking up through her hair, which look really cool, but not a great disguise if you're trying to keep a secret identity. And that she will have red hair in the movie, like Barbara Gordon does canonically in the comics, of course. And there was a tease. Both Blue Beetle and Batgirl gave us a bunch of some cool concept art for these movies. And again, this is an example of what I was saying earlier about just giving the fans confidence that like, yeah, we're doing this, and look at what we have so far. Like maybe it's just concept art and it's just an attitude that we have about the work we're doing, but we are telling you that this is happening, and this is proof that it's happening. It's almost like saying like, yeah, we know in the past we've given you reason to doubt whether or not things are happening, but trust us, these are happening, and here's why. Here's proof. So I thought that was really exciting. Both of those are supposed to be HBO Max originals. I was hoping we get stuff on some of the other HBO Max original stuff they've announced, like the Michael B. Jordan Superman project, or the Zatanna movie, or the Constantine thing. Like they talked about Constantine Justice League Dark a long time ago with J.J. Abrams producing. Didn't get anything from that, so we'll have to see. We did get a very short clip of the movie that Steve and I are very excited about, DC's League of Super Pets. Very short.
Absolutely.
very short clip. A trailer, full trailer coming in November, I guess. We got to look at Kevin Hart as Ace the Bat Hound. We got to hear his voice a little bit. And we got to hear The Rock as Crypto. So that'll be cool. Again, as we've talked about many times, I don't know why comic companies or movie companies aren't making more superhero related stuff directed at children. So I'm excited about that. Speaking of that, we also got some concept art for a preschool level show called Bat Wheels, which is going to be on HBO Max, and it's going to be basically about the Batmobile, anthropomorphic Batmobile, and other of Batman's vehicles solving crimes, similar to like Paw Patrol but with cars. And I guess Batman's going to be in it also, but still cool. So that was all like the movie stuff that we were going to talk about. That was a lot. So we're going to try to cruise through the other couple sections because, guys, we're not done talking. They gave us so much news yesterday. Talking about comics, we got some updates and some announcements from Milestone Comics. Milestone's DC's imprint that addresses and is a platform for like Black creatives, Black characters, Black focused books, storylines, things like that. Characters like Icon and Rocket, Static Shock, Hardware, those are all Milestone books. Last year at DC Fandome, they announced the return of Milestone. It had been gone for a while, but it came back last year. And this was a panel with Dennis Cowan and Reggie Hudlin talking about kind of the success of the relaunch and how it's been going so far. That those 3 books and more are still ongoing, and they're actually going to start crossing over and having like more like bigger event books that tie those 3 together. There's also a big compendium coming out of all of the old Milestone stuff. Like they're going to do compendium volumes, and they said it's like just huge paperback volumes that's collecting all like the old stuff from like the 90s and early 2000s. And there's also 2 movie projects in development. One we know is the live action Static Shock movie. It's going to be produced by Michael B. Jordan. I don't know why they haven't made a Static Shock movie. I don't know why they haven't made 10 for the last 15 years since that cartoon was on Cartoon Network. It seemed crazy that they wouldn't make that. Yeah. And they're also doing an animated movie. I don't think they really specified what was going to be the animated movie about, but they're working on that as well. Did you ever watch the Static Shock cartoon?
No, I think when would that have been on?
2000s? Early 2000s, I think. Yeah, like around when like Justice League and Justice League Unlimited was on. There was like kind of a spin-off of that kind of show.
I've got no excuse because I was actually in college by that, or like. No, I was in high school, so no, I definitely wouldn't have because I didn't have cable.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I watched it a little bit.
In 2000, I definitely didn't see it because I was it would have been in 10th grade and didn't have cable, so I have an excuse at least.
Sure you do. Yeah. We also got an announcement that a very new character called the Monkey Prince is getting his own 12-issue limited series this year. Launching I think in February, I want to say. This is a new character that was introduced just last year in DC's Festival of Heroes and Asian Superhero Celebration they did for Asian Heritage Month. The Monkey Prince is a shapeshifter and has ties to like an old ancient characters from like the 16th century or something. I'm not really sure. But he's despite being a superhero, he was raised actually by the Shazam villain, Dr. Sivana, the villain from the first Shazam movie. So he was raised to be kind of skeptical of superheroes. And so he's not like super gung-ho to maybe like team up with other heroes or to admit that he himself is a hero or whatever. So he's got some conflict with him. Again, not a character that I'm super familiar with, but I know there's a lot of clearly he was a very popular character enough to get his own series.
Between this and Hitmonkey, are we just going for all anthropomorphic apes at various points?
Steve, I'll tell you, DC Comics has a history of anthropomorphic gorillas, apes, monkeys, whatsoever, because sometime during the Silver Age comics, 50s, 60s-ish, I don't remember the guy's name, but whoever was president of DC Comics at the time realized that comic books always sold more, or a lot of comics books would sell very well if they had a monkey or a gorilla on the cover. And so he directed his writers to put monkeys and gorillas and apes on the covers of a lot of books. And therefore, DC has a ton of anthropomorphic monkeys, gorillas, and
There we go.
ape-like characters.
Huh.
Yes.
So
Isn't that crazy?
we should get them, we should get the Marvel versions, and we should get Magilla Gorilla all in a giant crossover.
That would be amazing. That'd be amazing. Well, is Magilla Gorilla Hanna-Barbera?
I think so. Yeah.
Because that's already Warner Brothers.
Oh,
Make
there you
that
go.
happen.
Yeah,
I
problem
want
solved.
a Magilla Gorilla mash up with like Gorilla Grodd and Ultra Human Knight and Grape Ape. Like, give me all that. And
Monkey
the
Prince,
Monkey
and
Yeah,
might as well throw in Hitmonkey for the hell of it. We'll
right.
give you the crossover.
They also announced the debut of Robin's new digital book for DC Universe Infinite, which was announced last year. Like DC did this big like social media campaign. It was like a bunch of different comic book pitches, and fans voted. It was like a tournament. It was like a March Madness tournament thing where fans voted which one they liked, and it whittled and whittled down until we got to Robin's, which is like a team up of basically, Nightwing, Red Hood, Robin, Red Robin, Stephanie Brown, a spoiler, all these other Orphan or Batgirl, like all these other like sidekicks team up basically.
Yep.
In a book, and that debuted yesterday on DC Universe Infinite. I started reading it last night. I was too exhausted. I fell asleep. So that's another. DC has been doing print editions of their digital stuff, so that I'm sure that'll hit shelves probably next couple months or something like that. But I got to say, so far, even what I saw before I passed out, the art is really cool and it's very intriguing. It seems like there is some female character that is claiming to be the original Robin. I don't know how that's possible if your name's not Dick Grayson, but anyway, some cool comic announcements.
The art on that definitely seemed intriguing as well.
Yeah,
like you said, it was.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
they got it on.
They figured it
out.
Also,
they figured it out. Shocking. Comic book company that's been publishing for 80 years figured it out.
Go figure.
Jim Lee, the one and only Jim Lee, Chief Creative Officer of DC Comics, I believe that's his title, and artist extraordinaire, of course, talked a lot about Superman, and there was a whole section of Fandome that was all directed and dedicated to Superman stuff. I was really kind of had my fingers crossed they were going to pull out some announcement of Henry Cavill coming back as Superman in some way, shape, or form, because they had kind of pushed like, hey, we're doing a lot of Superman stuff. I was like, are we going to get an announcement? No, we didn't. But Jim Lee did talk about Superman, especially in comics, how in this current run of Action Comics, which the main character is Clark Kent still, he has left Earth to free, this place called War World, which is a whole planet where people fight each other. It's a whole thing, ruled by this guy named Mongol. He is on his way to liberate War World, and that is going to be, quote unquote, according to Jim Lee, the biggest event in Superman comics since the death of Superman. That starts October 26th. That is saying something, because the death of Superman was a huge event in comics.
It's pretty big.
Yeah, it's pretty big. So that's some cool news. That's some good hype for that run of Action Comics coming up later this month. And the bigger news that we actually found out before DC Fandome, within the last week, was something we were going to cover when we were going to try to fit all this into one episode, but not
that didn't
possible.
happen.
That since Clark Kent, Superman, has left Earth, he has left the protection of Earth to his son John. John Kent is the new Superman of Earth, and this has been ongoing for a couple months now. I think we're on issue 3 of a book by wonderful writer Tom Taylor, who is writing the book is called Superman, Son of Kal-El, referring to being Jonathan Kent and not Clark Kent. And the big news that we found out last week is that in issue 5 of this run, Jonathan Kent is going to come out as bisexual and begin a relationship with a male friend of his in the book. Super cool, super exciting. They announced it on National Coming Out Day. This is a corporation giving, announcing LGBTQ plus initiatives and characters and things like that in a month other than June, and I think that's really kind of rare and exciting.
Weird.
Honestly, I gotta say that I feel like in recent months and years, and even watching DC Fandome stuff yesterday, I really am happy with it seems like DC is like really pushing for like inclusivity and diversity in all facets, whether it's like their movies, their TV, their comics, like all around. Like, you know, Jim Lee making this announcement came out and said how proud he is of DC for making Superman bisexual. Like, just no awkwardness about it. Like, no, just straight up like, yeah, we're doing this. Like, you know, giving an Asian hero like the Monkey Prince gets his own 12 issues, you know, and things like that.
Right.
You know, Batgirl's being played by Afro Latino woman. Like, it's just like they seem like they're really pushing for that without any like apologies or anything, just like going all in. And I'm really happy to see that kind of stuff. Speaking of things that make conservatives very angry, Jim Lee also announced the official change of Superman's motto, which used to be "Truth, Justice, and the American Way." That has kind of gone by the wayside in the wake of people waking up and realizing that America doesn't always do things the best way, and, you know, increased levels of nationalism and stuff in our country that is just the worst. His new motto is officially going to be "Truth for Truth, Justice, and a Better Tomorrow." And I don't know, that's Superman to me. I don't have any problem with that, and I love it.
It fits perfectly and takes the jingoism out of it, and like it's a motto that fits today and fits that better tomorrow. So yes. I think there's nothing but, you know, positives to come out of that, unless you're of a certain ilk.
Of a certain ilk, yeah.
It's been a long time coming, and just seems like it should fit, and there should be no like blowback on it, but whatever.
But you know there's gonna be.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, there's gonna be like, oh, last week he's bisexual, today he's scared to mention America. Like, okay, come on, man, shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, congratulations to Jonathan Kent coming out as bisexual. Congratulations to, you know, dropping the nationalist vibes from Superman's catchphrase. And I like that he can get a catchphrase back. He can, you know, I mean, he's got up and away. I guess he's got look up in the sky. I guess Superman has several catchphrases.
He's got a lot more catchphrases than most superheroes.
Yeah, as soon as I said that, I realized he's got at least 3.
Yeah.
But I like that this third one is back in play, albeit modified for a better tomorrow. So all right, that was a lot of the comics news that we got at DC Fandome. We also got some news on some video games, some of which I'm very excited about. One, I didn't realize this was happening. We got a whole new announcement of a DC Heroes and Villains RPG game, online RPG, DCHeroesandVillains.com. Go and you can sign up right now. They had one that was going for a long time called DC Universe, and I think it's still available. I don't know if they do updates for it anymore. Very sprawling and huge online multiplayer role-playing game. Some cool stuff, but it seems like they're revamping and doing something all new. I didn't expect this announcement. I didn't know that it was happening. I hadn't heard anything about it, but super cool. We also got a longer trailer for two longer trailers for games that were introduced or announced last year at DC Fandome. Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League and Gotham Knights. And both of these are definitely more in the vein of the Arkham games.
Yeah.
I believe, from what I've read, they've said that Suicide Kills the Justice League is in the same timeline as the Arkham games, or is in that universe, whereas Gotham Knights isn't. And that's kind of surprising to me, because I know Gotham Knights says like Bruce Wayne is dead, Batman is dead. There's a collapse at Wayne Manor and everyone's killed. But spoiler alert, at the end of Arkham Knight, was it the last Arkham game? That happens. It like the Wayne Manor explodes, and it's left kind of ambiguous. So like, why can't Gotham Knights be in that timeline? I don't know. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe we'll find out once we play the game.
Yeah. And it seems like from the trailer that like Gotham Knights is just the Bat family going and taking vengeance on everything for what they did to Bruce Wayne. So
yeah, seems like it.
Doesn't that fit with exactly what we saw at the end of?
I know. Yeah, it seems like they like.
Whatever. I mean, that either way, it seems like it'll be fun. Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League seems like it's just stupid fun.
Yeah, it does.
they just from the trailer, I mean, who knows, again, video game trailers are even more hit or miss than movie trailers,
Yeah.
but from the video game trailer it seemed like uh the stupid fun of what we saw in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad is getting translated to video game form, and that seems fun. Like,
Yeah, seems like they're
why
definitely
not?
making it, yeah, fun and over the top, crazy. I
Yep.
mean, there's a new version of King Shark. It was King Shark, Harley, Captain Boomerang, and Deadshot. It
Yes.
looked like
Yep.
is the core team. But also, like, I remember in the teaser they showed us last year, the only Justice League member we saw was Superman, and I was like, okay, yeah, everyone fights Superman. But this time we got a lot of Flash and a
Yep.
lot of Green Lantern, or some shots of Green Lantern
Yeah.
and Wonder Woman, which I thought was cool. So I was like, okay, it's not just the Suicide Squad fights Superman game. They have to, and I don't know, honestly, I don't know how the Suicide Squad, especially those 4 members of the Suicide Squad, no offense, could take out any of those heroes. Superman alone would decimate them.
Yeah.
If Superman had been, because it seems the Justice League has been like controlled by Brainiac, is what it seems like in the game. Like Brainiac seems to be infiltrating them and has like mind control. If Superman's mind controlled by Brainiac and is doing evil things,
Right.
Suicide Squad stands no chance, unless maybe Black Adam is on the Suicide Squad at that point. But
Right.
he's not. Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
But like
Um,
Superman or a Lantern or any, like,
yeah,
what?
yeah.
That's not gonna
Even
work.
a green, like Wonder Woman, like you put Harley Quinn up against Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman's not pulling her punches.
No, she's just
Harley Quinn,
laughing her way to the victory.
yeah, Harley Quinn's dead real quick.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean it's not going to be a fun game. It's going to be a super fun game. Be able to figure out how to do that, or maybe the game takes that into account.
Yeah.
They have to figure out ways to do it. Gotham Knights, I'm very excited about because I'm a huge Bat fan, and there have been, I think it was in Arkham Knight, you had the ability to switch sometimes between Batman and Nightwing, or between Batman and Robin. And I did, anytime I had the opportunity to switch, I would switch immediately. Because like I played a ton of Batman games, but I never get to play a Nightwing game. Now I get to play a Nightwing game. Great. And Red Hood, Robin and Batgirl in the game as well. And it's the villain is the Court of Owls, which is such a cool idea, such a cool concept, introduced by Scott Snyder on his run, his first run. Steve, I don't know if you've read the Court of Owls thing or know much about it, but you should borrow those books for me because they are top level Batman books that are really engaging and really great.
Seems like a trade is in order for a couple of things I got sitting here.
Yeah, 100%. So let's do that. But yeah, the fact that Court of Owls are the villains of the game is super cool. I hope they do justice to the idea of that club, I guess I should say. So all right, that's all the games we got. Now we're almost done, guys. We're almost done.
There.
Again, there's stuff that they announced that we're not even going to talk about. We're just like cut it right out because we don't have time to talk about it. We just don't have time to talk about the Smallville reunion. We don't have time to talk about Todd McFarlane and all his like super cool toys that he's building.
Right, we've gone through this, and we're an hour right now, and we still haven't even touched the television stuff they've announced.
Television stuff. We're gonna close with the television stuff that they talked about. And man, there was lots of it. They talked about all the CW stuff. They talked about Superman and Lois. We got a sneak peek of season 2. Season 1's all on HBO Max now. I have to catch up on that. I saw the first couple episodes and I thought it was great.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things on that one.
Yeah, I got to get back into Superman and Lois because I heard it was really good. We got like a cast reunion, kind of goodbye to Supergirl because Supergirl's in its final season, about to end. We got a sneak peek of the Stargirl season finale, which I forgot that was a show. I watched. I made it 2 episodes into Stargirl before I stopped watching it. But the sneak peek looked really cool, so maybe I should get back into that as well. We got stuff about Legends of Tomorrow is about to do their 100th episode. We got Batwoman season 3 is getting ready to go, and we got. Oh man, Steve, you need to see the Grant Gustin from The Flash did. I'm sure it was pre-recorded, but it made it look like it was a live happening at the time. Remote interview. About the Flash, and I don't know if they didn't have anything else to announce about the Flash, but they were really hyping that in the new season of Flash, he finally gets his gold boots that he has, and like his costume traditionally has like yellow boots, right?
Yep.
Like the old school Flash, and he's never had them on the show before, but now he's gonna, like, they talked about these boots like it was some game changing thing. And it's just like, yo, this is just a new costume, and it's
Yeah.
cool, but it's not worth taking up 10 minutes of DC Fandom to hype up gold boots. And they were even like, let's take a look at those gold boots, and they went to like just a shot of boots, and it was
Right.
like, yep, there
And
they
this
are.
is
Great.
coming from the guys who have overanalyzed every costume that's come out in the
Yeah.
last 3 months.
Exactly. It was really funny. Like, I was kind of, maybe this was just how I felt about it, and I was kind of being like, this is kind of overblown.
Yeah.
But I really felt like Grant Gustin was like really trying really hard to be excited about this. Like, it seemed like he did not care at all. He was just like, yep, we finally get to wear those boots, and I'm probably gonna put them on right now. And like, I was like, dude, he's really,
we're
just
gonna
phoning
try and
this in.
sell this, I guess. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, like you can tell right before he was like, really? I gotta talk about the boots for 10 minutes? What am I gonna say about the boots? It was really funny to me. So that was cool. We also got a ton of stuff about the HBO Max originals, some stuff that I had forgotten. Dude, I had forgotten. We talked about this on the show, that they announced a new animated show, My Adventures with Superman, like towards a younger audience, about like adventures of Jimmy, Lois, and Clark. We got some concept art for that. We got announcement of Doom Patrol Season 4. Super pumped. We got announcement of Titans Season 4, plus like a sneak peek at the season finale of Titans, which I'm almost caught up on. I got to catch up on that. We got stuff about Young Justice Season 4. We got announcement of Pennyworth Season 3, which is a show that I forgot existed completely.
I didn't even... Nope.
Yeah, it's young Alfred. It's basically like young Alfred if he was James Bond in like London. Apparently it's great. I've heard like it's really good. It's like, yeah, that's exactly that. It's like Kingsman or James Bond meets Alfred before he starts working for the Waynes. We got an update on Ava DuVernay's adaptation of DMZ with Rosario Dawson, which is something I completely forgot was existing. We got an adorable interview with the kid that plays Sweet Tooth on the titular Sweet Tooth on Netflix. And we got a quick update on Harley Quinn Season 3, a very funny animated introduction to a quote-unquote sizzle reel, which was all just unfinished animation. You know, it was Haley Cuoco coming out as Harley Quinn, animated version, saying like, remember Season 3 of my show was announced in 1972 and it still hasn't debuted on HBO Max yet? Why is animation taking so long? It was really funny.
Nice.
And it also ended with a super dope shot of Harley and Ivy wearing these like just awesome looking like fancy dresses. I don't know, like it's an animated show, and I was like, wow, those dresses are amazing. I was like, someone just drew those aren't actual dresses. Yeah. But it was like cool enough to, you know, make me need to say it on the podcast. Anyway, I'm super excited for, you know, 80% of those things that I just mentioned, specifically Harley Quinn Season 3. I love that show so much. We also got a very funny, very interesting clip of the Aquaman animated miniseries that they're doing.
Okay, that's a miniseries. I was trying to figure out, like, after I saw it, I was like, what is this?
What is this?
Like,
yeah.
You couldn't... So they dropped this clip, and you can't tell if it's just, like, a short for the clip, or if it's teasing something else, or what's going on. But it was weird. It was like, I guess it was Aquaman living in a pineapple under the sea.
Yeah, it was kind of like SpongeBob-y. Like we were talking before, like the animation is so similar to some like Adult Swim show or Cartoon Network show that I remember watching, and I don't remember the name of it. I'm sure I could like figure it out. But like it's recognizable animation. And it looks very funny. It's very silly. He was singing a little song about talking to fish.
Yep.
That was really great. And I don't know if you watched the whole thing, but like they're trying to he's asking like a turtle for directions or something, and Mara's like, what is he saying? He's like, I don't know. Honestly, I'm stuck in this conversation. I wish I could get out of it. You know, like it's just really really silly, kind of funny stuff.
Yeah, they're leaning into it on it, and it seems to be working. So
yeah, in a way that they're not going to do with the live action Aquaman. It's like you can make it can be funny, and you can poke fun at it with also him being actual cool Aquaman at the same time, in a way that like you're not going to make. I mean, kind of hard to make Jason Momoa look like a silly idiot because he's such like a badass looking guy. So like, you know, this is something they can do that they can't do with Jason Momoa. And it looked really funny. Yeah, it's going to be like 3-hour-ish episodes, I think. So it's like a mini series of animated stuff. So it's not going to be a full series. Yeah. What is going to be a full series is the other thing that I almost completely forgotten about that we had talked about in this podcast, Batman the Caped Crusader, which is a new Batman the Animated Series like cartoon animated show that's coming to HBO Max with the original creator Bruce Timm, produced by J.J. Abrams. This was like interviews with all the creators involved, including Bruce Timm and J.J. Abrams. Bruce Timm, executive producer of Batman the Animated Series, creator of Batman the Animated Series, as well as, Justice League Unlimited, Superman the Animated Series, Static Shock, like all the the DC animated Cartoon Network universe from the late 90s.
That got them moving
exactly.
again.
Batman Beyond, all that stuff. He's definitely involved in this. He described it as being the show is more Batman the Animated Series than Batman the Animated Series was. Or maybe that was JJ that said that. I don't remember. But he basically said that there's less limitations on what they can do now because Batman the Animated Series had to be kind of geared towards kids. And I guess this seems to be not as geared toward kids. He says, I get to do what I want to do with less limitations, which to me is exciting because I was like, okay, we're getting like Batman the Animated Series was already a show for kids that was clearly, not clearly aimed at adults. It was clearly for kids, but easily enjoyed by adults because it was very dark in some situations and like very adult, but also kid friendly. You could tell it had like,
there were definitely.
I guess if Bruce Timm is telling me that Batman the Animated Series was him with one hand tied behind his back, then I'm super pumped for this if he's like just all guns blazing.
Absolutely.
They're saying there's no Justice League. It's just Batman. He doesn't have all the tech that he normally has. He's very like starting out kind of thing. It's before that he has the trust of characters like Selena Kyle or Jim Gordon or all these things. So nothing's really assumed about his relationships with these people. And they said they're really leaning into like German expressionism and film noir, which I kind of thought they did with Batman the Animated Series. If they're telling me they're doing more of that, they're just basically saying that it's going to be more of it's Batman the Animated Series just dialed up to 11, I guess, is what they're saying. But they're also saying that they're going to include like modern inclusivity and representation in the way some of these characters are portrayed. So that is all awesome stuff. And obviously it's animation. So as Harley pointed out, it takes forever. So we don't know really when this is going to happen, but I'm very excited now knowing all of this, knowing kind of the direction that they're going in.
Great. More things I need to watch.
Yeah, I know. That's the other side of this coin is, wow, how am I going to have time? I guess I'm going to have to only watch DC stuff. And by the way, I know we only got one more thing to talk about and we're going to wrap up, but I'll say this now because I'm thinking of it. I don't want to forget, like, there are plenty of people out there that would love to and do love to talk shit about Warner Brothers and DC for not being as successful as Marvel or whatever you have. There's a lot of like Marvel fanboys or just DC haters in general.
Yeah,
it's really impossible, I feel like, to look at all these announcements to like, did you listen to all the TV shows that I just mentioned that are either on the air, used to be on the air, or are about to be on the air? Like all the movies that are in development, like, yo, they're not slacking, man. Maybe they're not the Marvel Cinematic Universe because they're not all connected, but like, if you don't think DC is like, is doing it, like you're just not paying attention. Like you're just not listening to the things that, you're trying to serve your own narrative because it's impossible. It's impossible to look at this and be like, they're not. I don't know.
That's always been a thing, though. Like, Marvel has always had the top ranked blockbuster, blah blah blah. DC has quietly been behind the scenes, like killing it with animation, killing it with their shows, like long before Marvel decided to. Well, I guess not long before because they had the Netflix stuff, but long before they did their own thing. With their own proprietary, like any of the Disney Plus shows or anything. The CW shows have been going on since time.
I know. There's like 10 of them, or there have been.
Yeah.
Like there's so many. Like that alone is like impressive. Like even if you don't like the CW stuff, you don't care for like the drama of it or whatever, like they're still making them and they're still on the air. So like people are watching them. Maybe you don't watch them, but they're hits, and they keep greenlighting more new DC related shows. So like, it's happening, and like, it's not like they've never been successful with movies. They've just only ever been successful with Superman and Batman movies, and now like they're introducing more characters. So like, I don't know, man. Like, it's for me as a DC fan, it's exciting to see all this stuff and to really, like, I know that it's all. I already knew that it was all out there, but like seeing it all in one spot is like, wow, yeah, they're really doing all this stuff and have been doing it for a long time. Like, whether or not, it's not Avengers Endgame, but what else is? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Anyway,
it's going to be just as ridiculous as Ant-Man is going to be Peacemaker.
Great segue. You just pulled Ant-Man out of nowhere. I could tell.
It's like, what is one of the weirdest Marvel movies they've made?
Yep. Spin-off. We talked about it a couple times, but they announced prior to James Gunn's The Suicide Squad being released a couple months ago, they announced that they were already planning a spin-off HBO Max miniseries called Peacemaker for the character Peacemaker, played by John Cena in The Suicide Squad. And especially after seeing The Suicide Squad, I was surprised by that before I saw it. When they announced it, I was like, I barely know who Peacemaker is, and he's getting his own show. That's some weird shit right there. And then, after seeing The Suicide Squad, I was like, Peacemaker is an asshole. Yep. Why does he get his own show? Why doesn't Ratcatcher 2 get her own show? Yep. Why doesn't Harley get her own show? Come on.
And then the next progression.
The next progression is seeing this trailer and saying, wow, I cannot wait to watch this Peacemaker show.
Yeah.
Yeah, John Cena is so plugged into this character and so happy to be playing this wacko asshole guy. Yeah, it's just so crazy. It seems spinning right out of Suicide Squad. Honestly, it seems like kind of cartoonier almost than Suicide Squad. Like, he's funnier, he's like sillier and dumber almost, and they could make him. Seems like it's like in a mini series you have, you always have more time to spend with the characters. It's like, well, let's spend some time making him an idiot and like an oblivious moron. Then made him an asshole in Suicide. Like, we can't do that too much in Suicide Squad because it'll take away from like the drive of the movie. But in the miniseries, we can explore his idiocy a little bit more, but also seemingly exploring his like vulnerabilities and showing kind of maybe why he's an asshole. Maybe he's got a dad that isn't treating him so well, or didn't treat him so well, or whatever. That seems like they're kind of shining that. And maybe this is the story of him learning to be a better person and kind of come out of his assholeness a little bit. I don't know. You clearly thought it was very crazy. He gets hugged by an eagle at the end of it.
It was wonky as hell, and it was the definition of what in the hell am I watching?
Yeah.
And like not in the Doom Patrol way of what in the hell am I watching?
Sure. Nothing is like that.
Yeah, no, nothing is, and nothing could be like that, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it was promising. It was it felt 100% James Gunn, which it is. And I don't know. I mean, it's going to be the relationship teased with him and Vigilante. It's just going to be weird as shit, and I'm in for it.
Yeah, and in the panel, they mentioned, this was all but confirmed prior to DC Fandome that the character of Vigilante is going to be in this show. He's like a lesser-known DC character. But Vigilante was also in a couple seasons of Arrow, so it's not like he hasn't ever been portrayed before. But James Gunn referred to Vigilante as, quote, the oddest character in the entire show, which is weird to me because in the comics I've read with Vigilante, or like as he was portrayed in Arrow, pretty straightforward guy, just like, I kill bad guys with a gun. Like, not odd about him, just like pretty bland, to be honest with you. Just like, okay, what separates you from other comic book characters that kill people with guns? Like, I don't know, not too much. You wear a different looking suit. So I'm excited to kind of see why he's the oddest character. I know, and the cast really seemed to get along in the panel too. Like, the cast seemed to really have a fun time.
Nice.
Working together and interacting with each other, and even though it was remote, they seemed very happy to be seeing each other for the first time in a long time, and they actually get along. So who knows if we get, we don't know how this ends, and we don't know if this is like has a possibility of doing a season 2 or whatever, or if we're going to see Peacemaker in another movie or whatever. I guess we'll see by the end of season 1 if we get anything else. But it seems like John Cena could play this character for the rest of his life as long as he can keep his body looking as jacked as he does, and staying healthy. It seems like John Cena would be fine to be portraying this character for years. So I kind of
he seemed like he was having just a damn good time.
Yeah, dancing in his underwear to 80s jams. Yeah, I'm all down for Peacemaker. Shockingly, I did not think I mean, I would watch it obviously because I'm a DC guy, but now seeing the trailer, I was like, okay, I'm in for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I was getting weird, like, and in a good way. Deadpool 2, when they introduced X-Force.
Yeah,
like when
sure.
they were introducing the cast of who was going to be with Peacemaker, I was getting a lot of those vibes of like, oh, and here's Peter. And you're like,
yeah.
Okay, cool, we're in.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we all we saw the Suicide Squad. It's not. This show is not the Suicide Squad, but
right.
It wouldn't be surprising if we got a shocking death, I would think, from a character that they spend episodes making us love and then pull the rug out from underneath us. So I know we'll have to see. And it's HBO Max, so it can be anything it wants to be. It can be as dark. I'm sure, if they said to James Gunn, you can do whatever you want with Suicide Squad, they probably said you can do whatever you want with this also. And so I'm expecting another, like you said, maximum James Gunn flavor to this.
I thought you were going with a maximum effort Deadpool pun there.
Oh, I should have, because you brought up Deadpool. I'm sorry. I got to watch those movies. I haven't seen the Deadpool movies in a while. I got to watch those again. But, Steve, I think we did it.
We did.
And with that, I think we have wrapped up our coverage of DC Fandome. If you want to see these trailers and behind the scenes things that we're talking about, they're all on YouTube. Go watch the Batman trailer, Black Adam first look, Aquaman first look, all this stuff, Peacemaker trailer. It's all on YouTube. Go check it out. It's definitely worth watching. We can't believe I'm saying this. We're going to do this again tomorrow night. Another podcast talking about Marvel stuff and Star Wars stuff. I think, was there Star Wars stuff? I don't remember.
Probably.
It's been a long couple days for me. So, yeah.
We can always find a way to talk about Star Wars stuff. So
that's true. Drop of a hat. But thank you for listening to our DC Fandome recap. Steve, you want to do your wrap-up stuff, and then we can get out of here?
Oh, I guess we can. If you're watching live on Twitch, feel free to follow us down below. If you're watching on YouTube, like, subscribe, ring the bell to let us know, or let you know when we upload videos. In your podcatcher of choice, feel free to give us as much of a review as possible. Ideally, Apple, because it helps the algorithm significantly. Write out what you like or don't like in 5 words or less. We will read it on air. I just arbitrarily made that up, so do what you feel like. Also, if you want to write us an email, themultiverseport@gmail.com, the Multiverse Report on Twitter on Facebook and Instagram, Multiverse RPT on Twitter. You can just Google us and find us, and we'll be here weekly. And strangely enough, we'll be back tomorrow. So
we'll be back tomorrow. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you next time in the multiverse.